Oh, that's so wonderful. Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer is on it, and I dedicated that to my DM. I won't share why I dedicate it to my DM, but he knows why. And since I know he likes to lurk on my videos and pretend that he's not, it's just a little love to him. Like that. Um, so I've been enjoying some of the contrast coming in from some different groups on different social medias. And I really love actually the questions that come in. And I love seeing the contrast between when it was me asking those questions and me now reading those questions and thinking about where I was and where I am now and who I get to work with. And also looking at the different answers that come in from different folks, and I almost feel like I can see where someone is in their journey, which isn't a linear timeline. We can go, we could be at the very beginning and actually be in quite an advanced space energetically, and then be brought down into our shadows and find ourselves in a very low vibration in our journey and bring it all the way back to the beginning, even if where we are is near the end. I don't know if that makes any sense. I'm still trying to figure out how to create the vocabulary to explain the timelines thing. And I know that this is something that several other readers / coaches of Twin Flames is trying to figure out too. And I applaud you if you're one of the few that have already created some videos on this. Now, the question that caught my eye that I thought I would do a brief video about, and if this doesn't make any sense because my brain is a little noodly from my back and challenges with the allopathic system, please let me know. Ask questions below, send me an email, I'll put it in the description box. You know how to do it. Now, the question that I liked was somebody came in and said, why would you choose your twin flame? And the unwritten part of that question is, you could manifest any soulmate that you want who's like a great match for you. You could have other relationships. You could do so many things. You could enjoy just being single and out there. And your twin flame clearly is somebody who's going to trigger you. And it's not an easy choice of relationship. Like, for whatever reason, we humans designed the twin flame journey to be a challenging one. There's intention in it. You can tell it was intelligent design in that part of it. I'm a firm believer in free will between spirit and humans. I don't know. I changed my beliefs in terms of whether or not our spirits decided to create some sort of a storyline for humanity overall, or not. Because sometimes it seems like yes, sometimes it seems like no. Otherwise, I'm a firm believer that spirit, when we were all in the non-physical, we created the human experience so that we could have the experience of arguing about whether or not we were predestined to do things, or we were here for total free will, and whether or not there is a spirit in the invisible beings in the clouds, or up high on Mount Olympus, or in the ground, so that we could have the experience of being separate from ourselves as non-physical spirit, or not. Because when you're all non-physical, you know everything. You are everything. Time does not exist, and you have no way to verify your own existence. So we created this experience. But generally, I believe in free will. Though the twin flame journey definitely seems to have certain things about it that it's like, I guess the easier way to put it is that more commonly than not, I see that twin flames manifest a challenging journey that is full of contrast. There's pain in it. There's plot twists. There's really big passion and happiness. There's a need almost. There's like a requirement that before you can have a healthy union with your twin, or whom you believe to be your twin, you must both be in a place of having healthy self-worth, self-appreciation, and the ability to have been independent in healthy ways by choice, voluntarily, and have the ability to have a healthy interdependent relationship, which means facing any sort of codependence, any sort of hyper independence, shadow work from your childhood, all these things. So it's a great question. Why would you choose your twin flame relationship, right? And I love it because I guess I'm going to share what I saw some other people answering first, and then I'll share what my reason is. I'm going to say this at this moment. I think that it is a mostly unique experience for everybody. It's very subjective, and I don't think there are any wrong reasons to choose it. I will say, as a person who loves to find balance between spirit and psychology, there are some healthy reasons to choose it and some unhealthy reasons to choose it, just based on that. Now, you might resonate with what I have to say, or you might decide that I'm totally full of shit and you don't want to hear anymore. Both are fine. Whatever you decide is good. So, what I saw off the bat were some answers like, because why wouldn't I choose it? Which is, I love it, because there was somebody that I could tell by the comments after that was early on in their journey, and there was someone else I could tell was a little later in their journey, and that answer it's got a duality. It's kind of cool. If you're early on in your journey and you have not faced your shadow work with codependence and toxicity, saying something like that as a why wouldn't I choose them is kind of one of those like, well, but they're who I love, and they're the other part of my soul, and da 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 da. Like it's a lot of romanticism, and you're really caught up in the story of twin flames, which isn't bad. It's just earlier on. You're kind of avoiding facing your shadow work at that point, and using your twin flame as a reason to fuel your fear of enjoying other relationships, or more importantly, enjoying your relationship with yourself and with spirit. Whereas later on in your journey, when you've done a bunch of that work and you realize that the journey is full of all sorts of contrast that is rather unique to the kind of contrast that you can get elsewhere, you might say something like that and say, well, why wouldn't I choose it? I mean, life would be so much more boring if I wasn't choosing the twin flame relationship or the twin flame dynamic. And usually by that time you've gone in and out of other relationships. You've had your own karmics and sinister plot twists and good things and stuff like that. Oh, it's funny. The radio's got the Mr. Heat Miser from the movie on there, which is "I'm Mr. Heat Miser," do, right? Which is, it's funny. Like, think about that I believe from the movie Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Like, Heat Miser and Cold Miser both provide an interesting contrast, and they, in a way, are twin flames. And usually twin flames are, at least in the physical, a feminine and masculine energy. Not in the sense that they both have to be male and female in terms of like what you were labeled as at birth or what your genitalia is, but in the sense like, say you have an LGBTQ relationship, you can have two beings who are at birth female. One is masculine, one is feminine, because they're about energies. They're not about that. Same with, if you're both born why am I saying registered? It's probably because it's so political. If you were labeled male at birth, you can have two men that are masculine and feminine. But you can also, like, twin flames is an interesting thing. We can decide to come into this lifetime, we can also be brother and sister, or brothers or sisters. Like, it's not always there. A lot of twin flame relationships are not romantic, even they're friendships and things like that too. They can be parent and child. Now, when we talk about them, like on YouTube, most people are focused on the romantic end of the twin flame journey, but that's the interesting thing about twin flames. They're not always going to be that way. It depends on whether or not in this lifetime both of your beings had decided that you were going to try to go for it, but it's about learning and contrast and things like that. So, but if you look at those two, the Heat Miser and the I want to say Cold Miser, but it might have been Ice Miser. comment below if you have the correction for me. It's been so long since I watched that movie, and I've been trying to watch it. I've been wanting my sons to watch it. But think of that as a contrast. Like, say that you have masculine and feminine energy, and one of you is more in the heat miser, and one is more in the ice miser. Those are two very contrasting energies, and no matter what, you're always going to have contrast in there. And I mean, to some degree, the heat miser is going to burn the ice miser, and the ice miser is going to burn because ice can burn, it's going to burn the heat miser or put out the flame. And it's an interesting dance, a tango, a foxtrot of sorts, a waltz, to be able to dance with your twin flame without putting out what makes the other one fantastic. You want the acceptance of each other, and also you want the push for growth. But it cannot come from a place of I'm right and you're wrong and you need to change, or you hurt me and you need to change so you won't hurt me. Like, it can't come from those places. And when you get later on in the journey, there will be many times that you realize that you choose the twin flame journey because of the contrast, right? Now, there were others, and I love this because they were brave enough to answer honestly and say, well, there's a part of me that chooses this because I'm afraid to love anyone else. And I love that, because that's a very real thing. And a lot of times 3D union cannot manifest until you face that, until you faced your fear of loving another, of losing your twin, of jealousy, of envy, until you've gone in and faced those shadows. And a lot of people won't. They continue to choose the twin flame journey because it makes them feel safe and secure in choosing to be single, so that they don't have to face the potential of getting hurt again. Which, the irony is, choosing your twin flame union, you're going to get hurt a lot. You're going to get hurt a lot. Now, it's not the kind of hurt that is... It's not like an abusive hurt. It's more of an immaturity hurt. And one of you thinks that you're doing the right thing and that it's better to hurt them this way so that you don't hurt them that way. And it's a lot of learning in there, but you're definitely going